Hey, what's going on? Miguel, host of Life on Circle Radio. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We are here on Wednesday this week because we had stuff to do. It's Christmas time, holiday events going on, blah, 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 blah. But we here. So this week, we had our production meeting on Friday. It was like, okay, we'll just see what's going to happen between now and then. Unfortunately, we have another shooting. UNLV shooting is going on. We're going to talk about the sexual assaults. Diddy, once again, more people are accusing, and now it's just one of them things. But then now you've got Melissa Ford jumping in there with Cameron and Mace, and she recanted real quick. Like, I don't want that smoke. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that there. Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom had a debate on Hannity's show. And I was like, why are they debating? And so we'll take a look at a little bit of a recap video on that. We'll comment about that. And then, yeah. That's it. Super producer.
What up, guys? What up? Welcome to Wednesday.
Wednesday. We know most people watching this stuff when they want to watch it, but
that's fine.
But anyway, it's all good. So yeah, man.
Let me tell you, that debate, didn't nobody ask for that. Nobody was looking for it, asking for it, wondering why it didn't happen, wondering, what does Gavin Newsom have to say? What does Ron DeSantis have to say to Gavin Newsom? We don't care. We didn't even know what was going on. It was a waste of time.
Well, we're gonna make folk care, because to me it makes sense. I think Gavin Newsom is next up on the Democratic side. I don't know what y'all doing on the Republican side, but
waiting for Paul Ryan. That's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for Paul Ryan.
But here's the funny thing, you talk about that.
Waving that Paul Ryan flag.
It's the same McDreamy thing is going on with Gavin Newsom as well. It's handsome guy, younger relatively guy. I guess he's probably in his early 50s. DeSantis is in his late 40s, I believe. So they're the next wave. And you got Trump, who's out here basically saying in an interview, went by Hannity, I believe it was, and he said, you won't be a dictator. Well, he said, oh no, I won't be a dictator except for day one. Or I'm going to shut down the border and we're going to drill, baby, drill. And I'm just like, oh my God. God, Lord have mercy. And
here's the thing that I've always liked about Paul Ryan. And he had a recent interview that was on Fox. I think it was on Fox, where he basically says, like, Trump is not the way. And it's not the way, for why people think. It's just not the way because we won't be able to recover. Liz Cheney is saying the same thing. Like, it's just not the way we need to go right now,
because it's not even politics anymore. We're really at a place where this guy just doesn't want to leave office if he gets back in there,
and that's the fear.
Yeah, and so it's crazy what's going on. So, but before we get into that, man, let's jump into these conversations right now, man. The smoke that's happening right now, with these sexual assault lawsuits and everything that's going down. It's getting worse and worse by the day. And so now you have Diddy has been accused. Jamie Foxx, we talked about last year, the mayor of New York has been accused. But it's getting worse and worse for Diddy by the day.
It is, and we can talk about that next. I think we need to actually run with something that I didn't even know that happened. That there was a shooting in Las Vegas today. And guys, I normally stay on top of this, but I've been so knee deep in talking about the UN Special Summit about sexual violence against female hostages and my work and my kids that I missed. There was a whole shooting today. So
Yeah,
The Las
yeah.
Vegas Metropolitan Police Department says 3 people were killed. An additional person is in critical condition after a shooting Wednesday at UNLV. The suspect in the incident, according to Las Vegas police, is also deceased. UNLV Verse reported the incident in a post on X at 11:53 a.m., saying university police responding to reports of shots fire in BEH evacuate to a safe area, run, hide, fight. Um, and there's more about the story, but again, me not knowing about this kind of shows that we become numb, and I feel so
It's
bad
a
about that,
shame. It
but
really is.
it
I had
really
to
is.
go. I had to go on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram, and the internet said, "The UNLV, what's going on?" I was, turned on Sirius XM earlier, and I said, "Wow!" And then, like you said, it's a shame that you feel bad, obviously, for people who are dealing with what they're dealing with. God, we're at this place now where this is not unusual, and it's becoming more and
No,
more we'll be mourning this thing, we'll be talking about it for a day or two, and then we'll be going on with our lives, and that is where we are as Americans. It's difficult, so let's
it's
hope.
very sad and
Yeah,
dangerous, and there will be more coming out about the shooting. And that's really all we can say right now.
I think
Again,
they said the
it
shooter
used
is
to.
dead. I believe
He
that.
is. He is
Yeah.
deceased. Or
Hmm.
she. It hasn't been established. Just says shooter is deceased. It has not been established. I don't know any more about the victims. As soon as we hear anything about the victims, if you don't hear it from Life Will Circle Radio on one of our
Hmm.
lives, you'll definitely see it posted on our Facebook page. So,
Yeah. Got
we're
quite a few people been
condolences to
hanging
the
out with us
families.
today. So drop in the chats and let us know who you are, where you're from, and how you found us. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. And we are all on the Tickety Talks as well. So, man,
Mm.
it's just sad. It's sad to see this continues to be our reality, and then our politicians, they just don't have any answers. I don't think that this group of politicians. I don't know. We're at a place now. I don't know where we're going to recover from this. All right, so let's move on. As we mentioned, as we were talking earlier, before we got into the UNLV stuff, the sexual assault stuff is becoming a day to day thing now.
Well, can we
Um,
start with the non-celebrity stuff and talk about what's going on at the UN? Because I feel like that's a little, it's all ties in
okay,
together, but we can start.
you bring me to the UN stuff, because like, if you've been, I have not been following this UN stuff, so you bring me to that. What's going on?
Yeah, so the United Nations actually had like a special summit to talk about the Israeli hostages, female hostages who were suffering from rape and sexual assault, gang rape. The stories these women have told have been absolute atrocities, and a lot of the speakers they called out the fact that a lot of people haven't spoken out against what has happened against these women, and that it's kind of been silenced. And I guess me as a person who stayed up on all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused as why they're saying that it hasn't been talked about because I've heard this multiple times. Have you heard it multiple times that these hostages have had to deal with sexual assault?
Sure. Yes, I have.
So they're saying that it has never been mentioned on mainstream media. It
Who
hasn't
is
been mentioned on
they?
social media.
Who's they?
The women who spoke at the UN summit
Okay.
yesterday said that it
Okay.
hadn't been mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They also went on to say that the women were required to give proof, and that's where I got disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
We should be past the point of any woman who says she was sexually assaulted, no matter what the situation, whether it's a Diddy, whether it's a Harvey Weinstein, whether it's a victim of terrorists, where we need her to give proof that she's been sexually assaulted. It was just a disturbing thing listening to all these women's accounts because they had to give proof to prove that this was a crime and that this happened to them. And we know when it comes to terrorist organizations, when you think about it, the Boko Haram, when you think about the asylum seekers in Yemen, when
Mm-hmm.
you think about a lot of these terrorist organizations, this is what they do. They commit
You're right.
sexual violence against the women, and
Right.
it also makes me uncomfortable when Jewish women, and I'm sorry, say like this is the worst thing ever happened in modern history. Boko Haram was modern history.
Yes, it is.
Asylum seekers in Yemen was modern history.
Right.
So it's weird that those didn't get as much attention, and now a lot of Jewish women
But
are
they're
demanding that
people of color. Those are situations where there's people of color where the main
the
women were
Jewish
assaulted.
community says they are people of color.
Jewish. We had our
And
guest on
we
last week, a week before, and we know that Jewish folks are white adjacent. They were accepted into into being white ethnically, and so they are perceived Jewish. People of color in Judaism, or Jews who consider a piece of color, are not black people, are not Africans, are not Haitian people. They're not darker people, and so
They're
we
not.
know.
That's the thing. They're not darker skinned people.
Correct.
And from what Yehuda told us, originally they were Middle Eastern brown people, and
Mm,
then when it was time to assimilate to make it life easier, which a lot of cultures do, sometimes assimilate to make life easier. They
yeah.
did that, and slowly over time they became more white adjacent, and Judaism became no longer a religion and culture. Excuse me, no longer a culture and a race.
Mm-hmm.
It became
Mm-hmm.
just a religion. And if you
Right.
don't believe us and you think me and Miguel are making that up, you can go back and listen to the show. We have a person of color who lives in the West Bank, who is Jewish, who explained all this to us
Right.
and broke it down. But again, I never not believe these women. I think it's awful what happened to them. I do feel like there's a lot of misinformation that's coming out. Like, one thing I think that's coming out that makes it hard to believe the hostages, and I hate saying that, is because of the media. One thing they came out and said that the women were, or the hostages were, drugged with Klonopin, which is also known as a date rape drug. Klonopin is not
Mm,
a date rape drug. I take Klonopin, and so does my mother, for anxiety. It is not a date rape drug. It's never been considered a date rape drug. So it makes it hard to believe the hostages when you guys bring in these tiny little pieces of lies and add it on top of the truth, because, like, well, what am I supposed to believe? And that's just my thought about it.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. This is one of those subjects that we as men, we have to sit back and leave, with men like me.
Yeah.
Um, because like we're talking, like going forward to a part of the conversation. This is obviously a much more in depth in what's going on in Israel. But then we had a conversation going on with Melissa Ford and Case and Mace, and she comes out and
We can jump right into that right now.
right, because that story, for people who know what I'm talking about. Case and Mace, Cameron,
Cameron.
Cameron and Mace have this podcast, pretty successful right now, and I guess they must have told a story during it where they talked about, they basically ran a, for people who colloquially know what this mean, ran a train on a woman back when they were young, and so you look at that, and first immediately women will look at that and say, oh, see right there, that's sexual assault. And I'm not going to get into that type of depth. There's women who engage in that type of activity now.
Yes, that's a fact.
And so Melissa Ford came out and immediately threw it out in the mix that, oh, it could have been somebody underage.
Yep,
Well, it could have
she
been a
did.
rabbit too, right? But you don't throw that type of content out there in the zeitgeist and expect people. So Cameron came back with the smoke and basically was just like, nah, you're not, no, and here people who know me, and let me set the record. I'm not a huge Cameron fan. I'm not a
Neither am
huge
I.
fan of people who have those type of narcissistic personalities. I go the other way. I don't hang out with those type of guys. I go the other way. But this ain't nothing to play with, especially in this day and age and in this climate
No.
where you're throwing it out there and putting it out there in the because at that point facts don't matter. People start talking, they're gonna run with it, and she immediately recanted and said no, because Joe Budden kind of challenged her on the show, and but
And
you
not
listened to the
just Joe
show,
Budden.
yeah. Go ahead.
I listened to this live show. It wasn't just Joe Budden. It was every
Hmm.
man on the show, because
Okay.
they played the audio from Cameron and Mace's show, and they
Hmm.
were talking about a sexual experience they had with a woman.
Hmm.
It was definitely graphic. It
Hmm.
was nasty. It
Yeah.
was a whole thing. And the guys were kind of like, the guys said something true. They were like, right now, y'all talking about this. It's a little iffy. Maybe y'all shouldn't be
Yeah.
laughing about it. Then
Right.
Melissa Ford, out of nowhere, goes, what if these were underage girls? And they were like, whoa, we didn't say that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? And she's like,
Right.
well, they could have been sex trafficking victims. And they also were like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you
Right.
doing? And then
Right.
me listening was like, Melissa, where did you get that from? Yes, they
She
told a
she she
nasty,
she got
raunchy
that from the
story.
daggum internet. And here's the thing:
Ugh.
25, 30 years ago, when I was in my 20s and 30s, right? 20s, yeah, roundabout. Um, you know, sex trafficking was not a word that we talked about, right? It wasn't a term. It was now that of course, I'm sure it was going on. I'm certain it was going on, right? Um, but there's a lot of revisionist history that's going on right now, and it's kind of like to get themselves in the conversation. this is the type of things we throw up to just once again get more likes and clicks and engagement and all this type of nonsense. And that ain't nothing to play with, man, because in essence, these celebrity men are easy targets. And no one know, like, the whole situation with Diddy, Jamie Foxx to me is the type of dude that Jamie Foxx probably is has going to have receipts to show that he didn't have anything to do with what is going on. But who knows? Diddy always has had a personality of a little bit of an aggressive guy. He's very powerful. Being able to take down people of power. And now, because I think they're saying now there's a story about him supposedly some 17-year-old girl. That's the latest story.
Yes. But real quick, let's finish up with Melissa Ford real quick. Melissa Ford is the same thing I'm talking about with what's going, like you said, with what's going on with the hostages and adding extra stuff on the story that doesn't need to be there.
Right.
Like, the guys are talking about it, having an adult conversation, saying how, y'all sharing this story, it might not be the good time right now. And you go, oh, maybe they were sex trafficked underage victims.
Nah,
and this is like, girl, you're taking away from real victim stories by adding extra sauce that wasn't even needed.
Wasn't even needed, man. And so I don't know what price he's going to pay. You were talking earlier about the makeup of these male driven, testosterone driven podcasts that have that one female there.
I hate to be sexist. And I know people are gonna be like, oh, Key is such a pick me. Maybe I am, but I already got picked. See the ring? I don't like these females on the male dominated podcast. I think the women end up coming on trying so hard and fitting in a space that they don't belong, that they end up sounding stupid. I have listened to Joe Budden since Melissa Ford has been on, and this is probably the 5th instance where I'm looking at her like, girl, why are you speaking? You didn't need to speak on this. Like, when they have stuff about movies or gossip, you can come on. But these kind of male conversations, the same thing with the Rory and Mal podcast. They have a girl in there named Damaris who, every time I listen to the show, she says something stupid.
Well, it's just and for people, people don't know the name Melissa Ford. You know who she is if you look at her. If you are someone who was in pop culture or enjoyed videos in the 90s, because she was the video vixen in many of the videos
video vixen,
in the 90s, right? And so she's been around 90s to 2000. She's been around, and we know what it is, man. People who got mics in front of them now, and we used to always fun. Both of us are trained broadcasters,
journalists and broadcasters.
We went to school for this stuff, right?
Yes.
That don't matter, man. If you can buy a nice mic, everybody using the same one I got here in my office. You got yourself a nice mic, and
I don't have a cap on mine because my daughter sneezed on it, so I had to put it in the dishwasher.
Yes, please, no germs. But it gets you the clicks, it gets you the engagement. It's making these people money. Joe Budden and some rapper, who was it? One of the rappers on the call. Well, it wasn't Nori. It was a younger rapper who tried to clown Joe Budden, say he's not irrelevant anymore. Joe Budden is very relevant.
Oh, that's been a lot of people. That's been NBA YoungBoy recently who's been clowning Joe Budden. That has been Drake. But listen, Joe Budden has cultivated an amazing platform. Right. He went from being rapper to basically broadcaster.
Sure.
And I don't want something like this to ruin what he's built, because who is messing up their platform? Our segues are so smooth right now. Tasha K. Tasha K is blowing up her platform for no reason, and nobody knows why.
Yeah, let's segue into that, because she wanted to jump on this story. This is the latest story right now. Ashanti and Nelly back together. We knew that they were together.
I'm sorry. Ashanti. What's the name you just? That's
Ashanti.
Not her name.
What is her name? The name ain't Ashanti.
Ashanti.
Ashanti and Nelly are back together. They were together for a while. Ashanti, so funny. Ashanti was I used to, man, my 23-year-old baby daughter. She ain't no baby. She's a grown woman.
She's not no baby. She can drive.
Kind of sort of grown. But I used to put that Ashanti album on. She used to love that Ashanti album when she was a kid. But anyway, point being, they're back together. I think, they're both in their late 40s. I'm assuming. I don't know if Nelly's 50 yet. I know he's about my age.
He damn near close.
He's close. I think that, but I think it's cool.
Let's see.
They're together. They look like they'd spent some time together a long time, and they broke up, and whatever happened to in their lives, now they're back together.
49.
Okay, he's 49. So Tasha K, who I still don't, I'm just starting to see her in my algorithms now. I wasn't seeing this chick no time. So I guess this mess is working because it's getting to more people. She was like, oh, well, she got a little sound effect. Da-da-da-da-da. Ashanti is not really pregnant because Nelly just had a baby by somebody else. What in the world does that have to do one with the other? and so, but it gets clicks, it gets likes, it gets engagement, and here we are. You know,
Yeah,
so and she's the same. Remind everybody who Tasha K is because she the one got sued by Cardi B and that whole
yes, she
situation.
is the one who is a effing moron who could have
Okay.
easily just gone off into the sunset.
Yeah.
All she needed to do was give Cardi B an apology. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, she was just like, no, I'm just going to double down on this because, it's for my platform. She ended up getting sued by Cardi B. Cardi B won the lawsuit. She now owes Cardi B $4 million. But oh, it gets better. She actually reached out to Cardi B recently and told her, like, I didn't handle this right. I should have done better. I apologize. Cardi B almost fell for it until Tasha K started talking about the Will Smith thing. And then Cardi B goes, I almost fell for her BS. I almost fell for it. And now I'm keeping everything the same. So now Tasha K is coming out saying that because Ashanti's not pregnant, Nelly had a baby by somebody else recently, which it's not true. He had a grandchild, and that Ashanti is light skinned, so she deserves to be married. What does this
So
have to do with the price of tea in China?
yeah, no, because the only thing it has to do is that here we are on Life with Circle Radio. Hey Dijon, and so she said she'd been watching Tasha K for a while. Here we are on I
Stop
ain't
it.
never heard of this chick until you start talking about her about a year ago with this whole Cardi B thing. She was whining and crying because I think Cardi B was on her neck. She said she want her money. Supposedly she was
Cardi B
hiding her
wants
money
her
overseas.
money.
She wants her
Yes.
money. She got hiding her assets overseas and all this type of stuff. But she's like, okay, whatever's happening in her little bank account from doing what she's doing, she ain't stopping. Evidently, it's working out for her when it comes down to getting them coins.
It's your
Yeah,
guilty ghetto plus Dijon girl. Listen, when we meet in person, I'm gonna have to shake your shoulders and say, no,
hey
stick to the
man,
gossip that you used to. Get away from Tasha K. She ain't nothing but the devil, Lord.
you know what the devil, you crazy.
The reason why is because it seems like everything she says or brings on her platform, she has someone else saying it, but
Yeah.
those people always are suspect. They're always iffy. It's always like why
Who
would
did
I
she
believe this
interview? Who did
person?
she interview a little while ago that you were like, why did you bring them on? It was something a couple weeks ago she did. Who was it?
It's been a couple of people, but Will Smith's best friend, that was weird.
Will Smith's best friend. That's what that. Yeah, that's what it was.
But even in Dijon, listen, even, and I'm talking directly to you on our show, the Real House of Potomac, there was some woman who came on saying that she was having an affair and had an abortion for one of those women on that show's husband. Come to find out later, the girl was like, no, I'm just a fan of the show and I made it all up. But Tasha K interviewed this girl on her platform and acted like she believed her.
Because
Like,
there's no journalistic integrity with most of these podcasters. As long as you can get out here and
with
get attention,
Tasha
get clicks.
K. With Tasha K, there isn't. I even Drink Champs has some kind of broadcasting respectability about it. I feel like Tasha K has lost all of that. All of it.
Well, Drink Champs is hanging out ironically on the Revolt TV network now, and so they've got some people to answer to, and so they probably
Yeah,
made
that's
him
true.
tighten up a little bit.
Not
Yeah,
Diddy anymore because he stepped down as chairman, but that's a
he
whole
stepped down.
other
He stepped
well,
down as chairman. Shout out to my man's out there still running a tight ship. So man, it's I look at all this stuff, and Dejan said she lost when she had credibility. Did she was she ever credible? I don't think
Yes. Tasha
really.
K used to be
Oh,
a
she
very
was.
credible source, and I'll tell you why. Because people, as a black source of media, people would go to her first. And maybe not so much like hardcore news, but
Mm-hmm.
anything that was entertainment or reality wise,
Mm-hmm.
you would go to Tasha K, and she would have a whole sit down interview with you and let you completely speak. And she would ask hard hitting questions that everybody wanted to know.
Okay.
And then that slowly just that's when I listened to Tasha K. Then that slowly just went away. It just went off like it didn't even matter anymore. It was weird.
Because unfortunately, you see the response, right? If we wanted to have a more popular podcast, we could talk about all this nonsense and interview all the. I'm sitting here in Atlanta. I can get my hands on
You
any
can
interview.
get anybody.
I can get anybody I want to get to. And I just, it would be so inauthentic for us to do that.
Dijon is right. She didn't she? She did interview the first and second wives for Steve Harvey. That's what put her on the map. And then she
Okay.
interviewed the mistress of a guy on not Real Housewives, on Love and Marriage Huntsville. That
Mm-hmm.
that interview did views because no one knew this
Mm-hmm.
girl existed. And
Okay.
then she just went off to
And so
Crazyville.
she stayed
Anyway,
in that lane. Once she started going in that lane, she said, "Okay, I'm gonna live over here."
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know, man. There's better ways to do this, and I know we're gonna keep on rolling with it. All right, so you
But
know, go
sorry,
ahead.
I keep telling you to stay on stuff, but I think it's cute that Ashanti and Nelly are spinning the block. If they
Sure.
have a baby and she's pregnant, it's great. She is a woman of a certain age with no kids.
Yeah.
What's wrong with her having a baby at this
Nothing
age?
at
I
all.
mean,
Nothing at all.
it's
At this,
not like she's 22 being a baby's mama. She's almost 50 or 45. She might be 45.
yeah, she's a little bit
If
younger
this is
than
what she
that.
wants to do at this stage in her life, then it's
Why
fine.
not?
Let her do
Why
it.
not? Right? I
What
really
does she have to lose?
when I see the two of them together, the energy I see with the two of them together, it looks real. It looks genuine. They have lived. Ashanti is definitely a grown woman. She came out looking and feeling like a little girl when she first hit the scene. And
Yeah.
she's grown into, and I don't see nothing wrong with this.
No.
I just see so much situation. Like we talk about Cardi B. I think I heard something recently that Cardi B, and which one is it? Offset she's married to.
Yes, it's Offset.
Okay, all right. I want to be real careful because the Warner Brothers
It's
passed away
Offset.
last year. So I think they're separating. Hollywood, man, seemed like it just that's the rumor mill. It was
And that's
on.
just a rumor mill, though. I think
Uh,
they're almost like Will and Jada, like bad marriage for life. We just gonna stick together. I will beat up strippers for you. I will yell at you. I will put you out, but I'm never gonna actually divorce you.
well, I don't know because there's certain people I listen to when I hear them say it. And so I was listening to Frank Ski this morning on and he's a radio guy, but he's one of them type of guys that he's not gonna put stuff out there if there's not something legitimate to it. But
Facts.
supposedly, she put an Instagram post out there, and she was something to the effect that it's time for her to do her own thing. So we'll keep an eye on that to see how that goes. But the point I'm making is that you just had these situations where these celebrities, man, the pressure to stay relevant, the pressure to it seemed like it's destroying a lot of relationships, and it's unfortunate because you got these kids. What was it? Jeezy and his wife. They got a brand new baby. They're in their 40s, and now they got a brand new baby. They're gonna be doing that baby mama stuff.
Who?
What?
Wait, Jeannie. Oh, Jeezy and Jenny Mai.
Yeah, they got a young child. Then you got
Yeah.
the situation. I don't think what's my girl Tiana Taylor. They don't have any kids, right? Or do they?
Yes, they have two kids.
Okay,
But they're
so
not like super young. I mean, they're young, but they're not like newborn babies who don't
yeah,
know. I
yeah.
think their
It's
oldest child might be 5.
but that's still very young. You know what I mean? For them,
Okay,
for
yeah.
them to be going through having to deal with a divorce situation. And then there's rumors that D Wade and Gabrielle Union may be on the rocks too. I don't know. It's just tough. Then there was the other story. I know we all over the place, but we're gonna keep it going. This seems to be the thing today. Um, what's her name? The celebrity who has been married. That story came out. She and her husband been married for 15, 18 years, and now she's finally moving in with her husband. Um,
Oh, Shirley Ralph.
Shirley
Yes,
Ralph.
Abbott Elementary. Yes,
Shirley
child.
Ralph. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, hey, that to me, that's a good thing. If it works out for them and it keeps them married to be living in separate houses all these years, and now they gonna live in the same house, and God bless.
Listen, we might get in trouble by our spouse. Let's be real. We're both married.
Yes.
We can imagine living separately and then getting together at the end of the night and then going home to sleep by yourself. I can. Don't you put them crickets on me. Don't you put them crickets on me.
You ain't putting that
Do the
on me.
crickets.
You ain't putting that on me. You like to
Maybe
talk for both of us.
it's
Talk
me.
for yourself. Talk
That's
for
fine. I love Omar to death. I love it. I love waking
yeah.
up to him. But some days I'm like, I can see it. I can see me living next
No,
door
we
across the
need
street.
time. We there's always time. She has her girl trips. I
I
don't
don't
do
have
enough
girl
for my
trips.
Yeah, no, she has
He
those.
don't have boy trips.
I don't have. I don't.
I've gone one place
Yeah,
that you
I
haven't
don't
gone
have a boy
anywhere.
trip. I ain't been away with the brothers in a minute. With the brothers in a minute. And it needs to be changed. I was just talking to my LB came by the house last week. He lives in Charlotte. I was like, man, we just got to make it. We got to put it on the calendar, man. We just got to make it happen because we just living. You look up 3 years done past. She's like, how would it been 3 years we ain't hung out? That's crazy. So anyway, all right. So let's move on. We want to talk. I want to move on to this Newsom Desantis debate. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, and we know Desantis is the governor of Florida, and so there Desantis is running. I guess he called himself running for the
Running for an
Republican
exit. You need
nomination.
to run for an exit sign, sir. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants your rotten tomatoes. We don't want it. If it was between him and Donald Trump, I'm voting for Donald Trump wearing a Trump t-shirt and cha-cha sliding all the way down to the voting booth. I
Oh
don't
my
want
God!
he's awful.
But think about
I'm
what you
done.
just said. You would vote for Donald Trump over DeSantis. How bad does he have to be? So
I would throw a potluck for Donald Trump. If it was these two together, DeSantis and Donald Trump, I'm throwing a potluck for Trump
we are
at
in the
my house.
twilight zone. All right, so we gonna check out
Like,
this story ABC News did and talked about this pseudo debate that happened. Basically, it was blue states versus red states. And what's his name? Sean Hannity. Hosted this on Fox News. Let's just check this out real quick.
let's check it out.
The debate began with Governor Newsom addressing the question, why debate Governor DeSantis, a presidential candidate, when Newsom isn't even in the race?
I'm here to tell the truth about the Biden-Harris record.
The governors agreed to a primetime showdown after an ongoing public feud. Newsom highlighting former President Trump's huge lead in the Republican primary.
How's that going for you, Ron? You're down 41 points in your own home state.
This is a slick, slippery politician whose state is failing.
DeSantis took aim at Newsom's record in California on everything from crime and homelessness to the high cost of living, pointing out Newsom's own father-in-law moved away.
I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida,
right here.
and he was telling me that
DeSantis
Florida is
this
much
one.
better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he's really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law.
Newsom attacked DeSantis for his views on LGBTQ issues and for flying migrants to Martha's Vineyard.
I met with those migrants that you lied to under false pretense. That kind of gamesmanship, using human beings as pawns, I think is disqualifying.
The issue of abortion offered another sharp contrast.
So extreme is your ban that criminalizes women and criminalizes doctors that even Donald Trump said it was too extreme.
I think we're better off when everybody counts, when everybody has an opportunity to do well, and that bill attaches when there's a detectable heartbeat for the child.
In the end, Newsom offered this assessment.
There are profound differences tonight, and I look forward to engage them, but there's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
DeSantis.
So here's the thing about that debate. Couple of jabs. DeSantis got a little decent one in there, with his father-in-law moving from California to Florida.
Who gets along with their in-laws 24/7? Like, I mean, come on now.
Nobody.
Was that really a jab? Or just like my father-in-law doesn't like me? Who the hell cares?
It was decent. You know what DeSantis and the governor down in Texas are doing in flying people and dropping them in New York and in LA is absolutely disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. But it's disgusting, but it's a hell of a strategy. Because what's to stop them from continuing to do it? And that's what I'm wondering. What is to stop them to do? And because New York has a huge homeless problem now, because people are being dropped in by the thousands. You got them dropping in Martha's Vineyard up in Massachusetts. You're dropping them in California. What's to stop them from doing it? And then once California gets them or New York gets them, they can't send them back. They got to deal with the problem.
Here's another issue that people don't realize with the migrants coming in. A lot of them are looking for family who live in the southern states.
Correct.
They're getting lied to saying, oh, we'll get you to your family, or you can file application and you'll be able to get back. So they're going where they think they should go.
Right.
Now they're completely disadvantaged from their actual family.
Correct.
And I've heard multiple stories of families of people coming in saying, I came to find my family and now I'm here and there's nowhere I can go. And now I'm just in New York, in a place I have even. New York is, yes, they do speak Spanish in New York. That's fine.
Sure.
But it's not as familiar as being in Texas, as in any of those
as
southern
being
border
where you
states, or even
expected your
being in the
family
South.
to be. Like you've expected your
Waiting
people
on
to
you.
be in Texas or Arizona or California waiting on you, and they pick you up and drop you. Like imagine going from Texas to
New York.
Massachusetts. Like
Ugh, God.
you're nowhere near where your people are. And but it's a game. It's a game. But when we look at DeSantis and we look at Newsom, I said a couple of years ago, I said Newsom's got next.
He does. They're grooming him to be the young hotshot. But
yeah.
And they always attack him for the same thing: the homeless population in California.
Mm-hmm.
Newsflash, people, it is from a Republican saying this.
Yeah.
The reason why the homeless population is so big in Florida, because it is.
You still a Republican?
I am. Ride or die.
Okay.
Big R's up. The reason the homeless population is so big in California, and it's also big here, no matter what that blowhard DeSantis says, is because we don't have real seasons in California or Florida. So you can live anywhere and be fine and be safe and be protected because of the weather. Yeah. Texas, yes, it's hot, but also gets crazy psycho cold during the winter. Yeah. Arizona, it could be 9 degrees during the daytime and it could be 25 degrees at nighttime. California and Florida are the only two states that do not have these issues. That's why their homeless population is so big. It's not because he's just like, oh, homeless people, what are you going to do with them? It's because they come from other states. They hitchhike to get to California and get to Florida because of it's easier to live homeless here. It is.
Right. And so you have that and you look at this thing and you say, you're talking about a lot of stuff that people aren't really going to pay attention to, unfortunately. I know. And it's my team is red, this team is blue. We look at the same situation in college football. DeSantis is going to get smoked. When are you guys up for another gubernatorial election? Is it what year is it? 2025? I'm trying to think. We go back to.
I think it's 2025.
Because he's gonna lose, and he's either gonna lose and run with, or end up being Trump's vice presidential candidate, running.
Oh, Jesus Christ! It's not till 2026.
Okay. Oh, well, that makes sense because if he loses, he can still keep his job and then try to maintain his governorship in Florida. Haley, what is her name? Nikki Haley has been pretty quiet, seemingly, even though she's still. I think she's second, or she's right there neck and neck with DeSantis when it comes out. And I'm wondering if she's getting quiet because she's trying to get quiet long enough that when Trump wins, that she can jump on his ticket. Somebody's gonna have to ride that ticket. And that's part of the reason why everybody's
who they're talking about?
Huh?
They're talking about Ben Carson.
I have read that. I think it's he's been real quiet.
That's fine, but Ben Carson is a way. Like I'm not a Trump fan at all, but Ben Carson, I mean, you might just put a dead body right there. What's the point? Him and Candy are useless. They're absolutely useless human beings. They don't have the sass and panache of a Kamala. They don't have the
ruthlessness of a Dick Cheney. This is the same party that had Dan Quayle as a vice president. We don't even know. Can you confirm that Dan Quayle is still alive?
We got a Dick Cheney.
Can we confirm that Dan Quayle is still alive?
I will confirm that. Right. I don't know though. He might be dead.
Because here's the thing: the Republicans don't give a damn about who the VP is. Dick Cheney came in.
He's alive.
Yeah, ain't doing nothing. He's probably running a nonprofit, somewhere. I don't know what he's doing.
He could be the president of Pornhub right now. Who cares? Right. We got it.
So my point is, Ben Carson running as the vice president.
Dick Cheney was awesome. Dick Cheney. Can I get Dick Cheney?
He was awesome in what way?
Awesome's a weird word. Okay, awesome's a weird word. What I'm saying is he was the vice presidential candidate, just like the Democratic candidate, needs to be ready to lead or already be leading like Dick Cheney was when Georgia Bush was president.
Dick Cheney was like, was Al Palpatine from Star Wars. He had the hood on, controlling everything.
He was controlling everything.
He was a frightful man, I swear. Yeah, man. I don't, man.
But
Go ahead.
Ben Carson, useless. Less than useless, right? Candy Carson, ew. Who wants to go see her fakes? Have you heard her sing the national anthem?
No, I don't know. I don't recall anything. I can't even remember right now. Is Candy Carson black or white? I don't remember nothing about Candy Carson. Like Candy Carson.
Black.
Okay.
Put it on the show. Google Candy Carson singing national anthem.
Do I really want to do that? Do I really want to do that?
Do it.
Oh my God. So, but and she's a, Candy. I mean, Ben Carson. Obviously, he's a historic. Candy Carson. Would you say national anthem? He is someone who was an amazing. What is he? Heart surgeon or? He was a big deal,
heart surgeon.
Man.
He's the one who they made a movie. They made several movies about him being a heart surgeon, and his, I think they call it Changing Hands or Something Hands.
Something, yeah. Do I want to do this?
Just play her singing the national anthem, then we can move on from this, because this is going to make you laugh so hard.
I think the only thing I'm finding right now is something from the Young Turks. Let me see.
From the Young Turks.
Hold on a second. Let me pull up on Safari.
Here we go. Turn the audio up. Turn it up.
Oh, that's wretched.
Oh, it won't play it.
Is it not playing? You don't
Just
hear
her face alone lets you know that she can't sing. That's all we needed to see.
She really sounds like. Can you hear it? Oh my God. She sounds like the woman that's at church that they try to hurry up and get the mic out of her hand. Like, come on, mama. Auntie.
Come on, Mother Davis. Thank you so much, Mother Davis, for your participation in today's service.
And that was Mother Davis. Thank you, Mother Davis, we love the Lord.
We love the Lord.
I don't know, man. I'm so much more concerned about who's talking about not voting for Joe Biden than who is voting for Trump. Because one thing about the Republicans, they're going to get out there. They don't give a daggone if it's a tomato can out there. They want power. And you got folks.
But I also think that people are really uncomfortable with Trump, and more people are talking about going out because he's so, and we've talked about this in the show, he's so hell bent on getting revenge. That's all he's concerned about, is getting revenge rather than running the country. And that's the fear a lot of people have. But
here's the thing, is that gonna stop people from because he was just, I saw a clip of him on Hannity's show during the interview. And he basically said he's not even hiding anymore. First day I'm gonna be a dictator. I'm gonna close the border, drill baby drill. You think he's gonna stop? You think he's not gonna try to do everything he can to stay in that office forevermore and to will it to his kids? And this game, dude. Am I a big huge fan of Joe Biden? No, I'm not a huge fan of Joe Biden. Joe Biden's done a decent job for what he's done. He's just doesn't have the personality. He's 80 years old.
But even worse, Joe Biden's job was just to put the scenes back together. It wasn't even to be a great leader. It was just to keep the scenes of the country together until somebody better can come into office. That was all his job is.
Well,
right?
No, because anytime someone runs for president, especially when you're running and you have Kamala Harris as your running mate, which is America ready for a black woman president? I'm ready for a black woman president. Is America ready for a black woman president? No.
Not her.
And so now you're saying we're banking on him being able to stand up for 8 years and remain in this position. And then as we groom Gavin Newsom to come in and be the next one to re-energize the country into, what would that be, 2028? But
do you think you could be happy? You think you'd be happy with a Paul Ryan? Honestly. You'd be comfortable. Maybe not happy, comfortable with Paul Ryan.
I don't remember enough about Paul Ryan's politics to understand how disruptive he would be. I don't know. Nobody. It's like grading on a curve. We're all the way over here with Trump. So anything that comes a little bit closer to the middle, we're gonna be doing backflips anyway. But I remember Paul Ryan was problematic as well. I just have to do my research.
Lightly problematic compared to what we're dealing with now.
Nothing is like what we're dealing with now. There's nothing in the history of this country that is like what we're dealing with now. And it's not just because of the policies of Trump. It's because of the ability to see it in live action every day. It is going to be traumatic to us to have to deal with that for another 4 years because he ain't got nothing to run for. When he gets back in there day one, he is going to raise hell.
Absolutely. Years. Can I scare you? Can I scare you a little bit as a Democrat? Because you're a Democrat.
Sure.
Remember when they thought Anthony Weiner was a front runner?
Independent, but go ahead.
Remember when they thought Anthony Weiner was a Democratic front runner? Remember that?
He a front runner of what? He was never front runner.
Don't you sit? Don't you? Okay, he about to play me, y'all.
That's not nothing. What was he front running on?
That is not. Selective memory.
Front runner for what? He was a front
runner. To be a future president.
No.
Don't play like he was.
No.
Oh,
no.
All right.
No. For Anthony Weiner.
Groomed by the groomed by the Clintons. Before all that drama came out about him, he was married to.
Maybe he was trying to run for governor of New York, but not front runner for president.
No. He was running for a governor of New York to then eventually be president. He was being groomed by the Clintons to take over as a Democratic frontrunner to run president. His wife was a lawyer, worked for the Clintons. It was all pre-planned, destined for him. And then,
man, the Clinton, the
whole
Clinton
came out,
run,
and then,
the whole Clinton run feels like such ancient history now. We thought that Clinton run was going to be forever. It's like dissipated in the wind. It's like, oh man, and then even the Obama's run is feeling like ancient history now. It's kind of like,
and the Obamas don't give a damn. They out here writing books and going to Martha's Vineyard and going to they hanging out with their kids. Yeah. They don't care. They're the only presidential couple I've ever seen. Well, maybe George Bush and his wife, who were just like, we're not in the White House anymore. We're fine with that. We're cool with that. We don't care. Let's go off and go have fun.
Right. What is Trump's wife's name? The current one.
Her name is Melania. Oh, did you see Jimmy Carter's wife's funeral? Rosalind Carter's funeral.
Right. They just do stuff just to pluck people's nerves, just to be plucking people's nerves.
Let me tell you why I wanted to slap Melania in the face. Everybody's wearing black. All the first ladies are wearing black. They're also why she wore gray and white. Why, Lord?
Why you even show up? You're gonna be, and first of all, Trump wasn't there. Like, I don't think we've seen Trump and Melania together in public since they left office. I'm just like, they never there in public. She like, I ain't going on no more of these tours. I ain't going to no more of these rallies.
I think him running again messes up their decision. Like, don't run again so we can get a divorce. And that's in their prenup. Like, if I run again, you have to be by my side. She does not like him. We all know this. She cannot stand him, doesn't want to be around him, thinks he's a scumbag. Their son, have you ever even seen them just one-on-one with his own son? The youngest one. The one who's like 1,000 feet tall.
Right. I don't know, man. I try my best to keep Trump out of my mind, out of my brain, out of my soul as much as I can, because we're going to have to deal with him for at least the next 9 months coming up in January. All right, before we we gotta get our what in, because I know you have some stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah, let's get some fun stuff in. We've really done we've done more deep dive into politics today than we've done in ever in a while. Well,
we got to get back to we can't stay on the neighborhood talk website doing all that all day every day.
I'm not even intern Alexis. I'm so sorry. I have to lead with this. What? Is his name Ime Udoka from the Rockets coach?
Yeah.
Ime Udoka and LeBron James exchanging words. Yeah. Pretty harsh words that I'm sorry, LeBron James is a baby. He is a crybaby. He is a weenie. Whatever. And then Ime was ejected. He was ejected for that.
He was not ejected particularly for that. He was rejected because it was his second technical. And that's why he was ejected. He wasn't ejected because they were concerned anything was going to happen.
Are you a LeBron apologizer?
No, I'm someone who understands the rules of the NBA. It was the second
He's
ejection.
A LeBron apologizer. It's fine.
It was the second technical, and that's why Udoka got tossed, because it was his second technical. But when it all comes down to, or you ain't gonna do nothing, because they did a little translation, the lip reading and all that. Ain't none of y'all gonna do nothing. Ain't nobody gonna scrap. They ain't like the coach and LeBron gonna scrap right there on the court. I almost feel like after all these years, I cannot recall a fight LeBron has been in the 21 years he's been in the league. I just want to punch him out in the face.
No, he hasn't, because he always has a bunch of people who have protected him. But let me tell you,
he don't need to be protected.
Would have got him punched in the face.
Yeah, he's 6'9", 270 pounds. He don't need to be protected.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. Omar, you better come in here before I go, because I'm gonna go.
You can go.
I can't go.
You can go.
What would have got him punched in the face, and what I would have said if I was LeBron, I would have been like, "That's why Nia Long left your ass." And then it would have been a fight. He's bothering me about LeBron James.
Oh, whatever. And so, the big thing last night, it was the issue with LeBron last night, and who were they playing?
Here he comes.
Last night. The Suns last night.
Look.
What up, homie? I think he's a LeBron hater too. Isn't he a LeBron hater?
Are you a LeBron hater?
Yeah, I think so.
He tried to play it. He's like, I don't care for him. Go, babe.
Man, whatever.
He's like, I don't care for him.
LeBron hater.
He's a LeBron hater. Yeah.
Whatever. I look at this thing and I say the Ime Udoka situation. Here's the thing. LeBron, 21 years in the league, 38 years old. He's still out there balling. He hooping. He got everybody scared about to win another chip. So it is what it is. All right, what else you got in the what? There was something else you want to talk about.
Beyonce is stirring up the internet once again for absolutely no reason. She put out her Renaissance film, which has been getting rave reviews. It's got 100% Rotten Tomatoes, 9 out of 10 on all the reviews. Ow. Can you warn me before you do that?
It's kind of loud. Is it kind of loud?
It's a little loud.
Okay.
That's a smidge. But she posted a picture of herself in a platinum blonde wig and a beautiful silver dress in front of a silver background and long silver gloves that matched her gown. And people were saying that she is now bleaching her skin. And even me, I am not a Beyonce fan. I'm not a hater. I'm just not a Beyonce stan. Even I was like, it's just because she's washed out. Like, are we really saying Beyonce, who has gone out of her way because she is light-skinned to prove brown-skinned girl, to prove she's brown, being a color is beautiful, we're all of a sudden saying this woman would now bleach her skin? Talk about are you serious?
Them Carters don't give a damn about y'all and what y'all think about them.
Tina Knowles cares. Her mama cares. Her mama came out and was like, are y'all serious?
I'm sure mommy can come out but Beyonce sitting back, whatever cussing and fighting, punching at the air she doing in her house. Ain't no cameras, ain't no tweeting, ain't no Instagram, IG messages. She's back. It was a, as you said, it was a glittery dress. The light probably could have been hitting it, which reflected it and caused her skin to look. That woman ain't, and if she is, that's her damn business. I can't see Beyonce doing that though. They just.
I'm with you. I don't see Beyonce bleaching her skin. She has gone out of her way throughout all these years, barely even acknowledging that she's light skinned. Just that she's like, I'm a black woman, I'm a brown skinned woman. I want these black women to have experiences. She has women of all colors who have dance background behind her for years. It's never been like, I only want 2 light-skinned girls. It's always been a light-skinned girl and a brown-skinned girl.
Has she been known for has anybody even talked about her having any sort of surgeries or anything that these? I haven't heard anything about Beyonce doing any of that.
The reason why I know she hasn't had any, and people may not believe me, when she had Blue Ivy, she was still showing her midriff. After she had the twins, she walking around like me, shapewear and midriff tops, but stomach covered. We have not seen this woman's stomach since she had those twins, which makes me think that maybe surgery is not something she wanted to do, and she just like, it is what it is, either I'll work it out or not. But she has not shown her bare midriff since she's had those twins.
Well, let's keep in mind, what does Beyonce got to be, 42, 3, round up in there somewhere now?
Around that age, yeah.
Yeah, so she's not a baby, she's not super young. But she's in amazing shape. Obviously, doing that tour.
She's in great shape.
What, 55,
like me.
56
Like, we're in great shape. But once you have twins, as someone who had twins, your stomach is kind of like, we don't care what you think.
It is what it is.
We don't care.
It is what it is. Man, I'm so, all the nonsense out here about surgery and fixing this and tightening that and all this stuff. Like, man, be healthy. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I don't get into the celebrity standing and all that stuff, but I respect what Jay-Z and Beyonce have done with their celebrity publicly. We don't know what they're doing on the backside. But here's what all this nonsense has been coming out. You seen any sexual assault allegations coming out about Jay-Z?
Not one.
Not a one.
And that lets me, and people are just like, oh, it's always black men are getting attacked. I'm like, well, no, because Denzel Washington hasn't had one, and Samuel L. Jackson hasn't had one, and who else? Morgan Freeman hasn't had one. James Earl Jones hasn't had one.
Right.
Jay-Z hasn't had one.
Right. There's certain type of people who don't know how to manage their public persona, or like in Diddy's case, his whole aura is being public and being front center and being the center of attention, and now that's biting him in his ass.
Remember the movie The Brothers from back in the day? The sexiest black men to ever walk. Has any of those men been accused of sexual? Bill Bellamy, D.L. Hughley, Shamar Moore? None of these men have been accused of sexual assault or impropriety.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we're noticing them and from afar. But all that stuff that came out, and more is going to come out. And at this point, as the man said, it's above me now. Whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. If Diddy has done what they said he has done, then he's gonna pay the price.
Let's talk about Diddy real fast.
Okay,
we talked about it a little bit early in the show, but there have been, I think we're up to 9 allegations against Diddy alone. The recent one being a 17-year-old girl who had pictures, and I don't know how and I'm not discounting her claims, but she said that she met Diddy. She has pictures of her being in the studio with him, which shows that you were with him, which is fine, and that you were a groupie and a fan sitting on his lap. That's fine, but it proves that she knew him. But there are pictures. There's a new allegation coming that not only was she sexually assaulted by Diddy, but that she was gang raped. And that's just one of, I think, like I said, 9 other allegations that have come out of him sexually assaulting women. And I'm sorry, I hate to say this, I believe some of the women, I don't believe all the women. And Dijon, I'm with you. I believe Diddy is a disgusting piece of garbage creep, but we have to discern the truth from made-up allegations or over-exaggerated allegations. We'll call them the Melissa Ford's allegations, the made-up, adding extra sauce on it for no reason allegations.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where there's no benefit. You hear me say this all the time because you're family, but there's no fruit there. And when I say that, meaning that when these seeds are planted, for me to speak on this, I don't see any fruit from even speculating one way or the other. And we're really at that place now. We weren't there. This picture of this young lady sitting on his lap, we don't know who this is. The picture I saw, her head is cut off. We don't see it. All we see is a girl sitting on his lap. Oh, this is the 17-year-old girl that was in the studio and she got gang raped. Okay, if you say so. And when even with the situation with Bill Cosby, a woman came out 3 weeks ago, who said something happened in 1973. That was 50 years ago. Do you have, and how do you got some Polaroids?
Listen, we're not discounting these women. What we're saying is, like, for example, with the R. Kelly allegations, those girls, all of those girls almost kept memorized stuff. Had proof that they could go back to and say, well, I was here on this date when this building was built in the house and this window was placed. All those girls had stuff like that. With a lot of the Bill Cosby allegations, they were able to go back and say, oh yeah, he checked in the same day that she said she was in this hotel. She checked in and then he checked in after her. With Diddy's allegation with Cassie, I believe her allegations 1,000%. But with some of the girls coming after, we're just supposed to believe them because Cassie came out. And that is hard for a lot of people. It is. I'm sorry. I believe Diddy is disgusting. I believe he did all these things. I've heard my own stories from other model friends. I believe it.
Okay.
But it's just some of these like the girl coming out now with the 17-year-old showing pictures of you in the studio singing, sitting on his lap. That shows that you were just hanging out with him and you were a groupie.
You know what?
And that's the problem that I'm having, and it's a real internal struggle.
We have this, and I want to play this because I have a friend of mine who I reached out to about this video, and it was she was talking about, and I want to make sure I pull the video up because I don't want to expose who I spoke to because she's in the business. I want you guys to see this video. because it's very interesting how this was positioned. Hold on.
They sure did. And they sued his corporations and sued in her capacity as an employee. When you do that, it triggers commercial liability insurance. Yeah. And it triggers another policy called directors and officers.
I'm gonna start this over. So this is, as I mentioned,
start over.
I'm gonna start this over.
They sued his corporations.
They sure did.
And they sued his corporations and sued in her capacity as an employee. When you do that, it triggers commercial liability insurance. Yeah. And it triggers another policy called directors and officers. Okay. And we know he's a director of these companies as the CEO. So now you got two policies. What happens then is it takes away Puffy's ability to settle. It's not his choice no more.
So it's no longer personal accountability. It's his organization.
It's his organization. And it's no different.
This isn't news.
If you hit somebody
we talked about this.
Let's say you have State Farm. State Farm gets to decide to settle, not you. You could say, I didn't run the stop sign. That's not true. They're lying. If State Farm says, we don't care, we did our investigation. Our attorneys were really brilliant. They didn't sue.
Okay.
What do you know about? What are you knowing about?
So we talked about this, that Cassie is an employee, that she sued the corporation. Yes, that is a fact, because again, Life will Struggle Radio, we don't play around with that. We talked about it on the show. Yes. But the lawyer personally for Diddy is the one who came out and said and made statements that Cassie was after this amount of money and this is wrong. So you can't have it both ways, because if it was Cassie suing the corporation's lawyers would come out and make a response, and it wouldn't have been just on Diddy. It would have been that the Bad Boy Corporation did nothing wrong. Even you can attest to this as a media personality.
So I have not read the documents. So when you read the documents, who did she sue in the documents that you read?
She sued both. She sued the company for wronging her as an employee and sued Diddy personally under a civil suit. So she can get the insurance money from the company, but Diddy's lawyers were representing him personally. It wasn't the company as Bad Boy coming out and saying, we recognize Mrs. Ventura as a employee and we're sorry for whatever. It was Diddy basically trying to say she's just going after money. He does no wrongdoing. And even after the settlement was settled, he's the one who came out and said, we hope for the best for her. We hope that she lives long with her life. End of conversation. If it was a corporation, it would have been simply, we settled this. It would actually, I don't even think a corporation would have said anything after the settlement. Well, so saying that annoys me, because now you're making it seem like Cassie just sued the company because she knew she could get money from the company because of insurance policies.
Here's one thing that my friend who is in the insurance business, big time insurance on that level, and she's up top. She's in Jersey, and she kind of knows a lot of folks in the industry. She was saying that Cassie did that because she had a 10-album deal with Puffy.
She did, absolutely.
And so that was
how many albums came out?
And that was part of the reason why she sued Puffy and the corporation to get out of that 10-album deal. Was also part of the deal. I tend to believe this position, not because of the young lady who spoke, because I don't know who she is, but because of the people I know in the business and this particular person who knows this stuff backwards and forwards. But ultimately, that's a different way to look at it, and for us to keep an eye on how this is going to be handled going forward. Is Diddy going to give up and relinquish his positions with these companies that he's built over the last 30 plus years? Is he going to be forced to do that? That's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. All right, man. Great show today. Oh, we didn't get a chance before we get up out of here. Give a shout out to our girl, Queen Latifah, first female rapper to be a Kennedy Center honored. Respect. Can't wait
to see UNITY perform on the Kennedy Center stage. That's going to be amazing and hilarious.
Man, I didn't see Nas performing with symphonies and stuff. Now we are in the hip hop community celebrating as we wind up 50 years of hip hop. We are old. So we
can't wait for it to be over. I feel like this is the longest 50 years of hip hop to ever exist. Jesus Christ. It's forever.
Use a baby.
Bye, guys.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all. We see y'all next week. Peace and bye-bye.
Laters.
All right. Where's my clothes? There it is.